Okay, hello, and welcome to this week's workshop mini. And I'm going to be talking to you and giving you some secret insider tips about subscription model businesses or passive income businesses or what they call membership sites. And what this is where you're making content behind the scenes and you're making content on a consistent, regular basis, and people are paying you as a subscription, right? So, like, think about how you pay for Netflix, think about how you pay for your autoresponder. Most of the time, you're either paying a monthly or a yearly fee. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about five just little tidbits on or facts and fun stuff about subscription-based businesses. And the benefits of a subscription model is that obviously people are paying you month after month after month, right? Or whatever you set up your subscription as, which we'll talk about in the next tip. All right, so that means that you have predictable income. That means that every single month you're not starting from zero. So as entrepreneurs, we don't get a paycheck, right? There's no paycheck coming in from anywhere. The only paycheck is the one that we make for ourselves, for our business, right? Whatever we're selling in our business to make money. And if you're not selling something on a recurring basis, then essentially you just have to kind of go month after month and try to make that income every single month. But obviously, Netflix doesn't have to worry. They just have to worry about giving us content so that we'll keep paying them, which they do, right? And we're happy to do it because we love the content that they give to us. Okay, so that's kind of the goal. And just so you know, this week we did a workshop. It was actually yesterday with my friend Chris Locke, who makes six figures a month with membership sites. This guy is no joke. Every time I talk to him, I learn something new, I get inspired, and he really knows how to help people, and he really has heart in what he does. I'm going to put the link at the end, but just so you know, this is kind of where this is stemming from. It's super, super exciting that anybody can build this subscription type business. And even if you're just starting out, this should be in the back of your mind about potentially incorporating this model into your business, because it only makes it so much easier, again, because you're not starting from zero every single month, right? And you just grow and grow and grow your members, and Chris shows you how you can do that, okay? So we talked about the benefits, which are pretty obvious. Now I'm going to input about number two, and that's best pricing models, okay? And the pricing stuff, I've been doing business online for 9 years. I've learned about membership sites. I've implemented membership sites in my business. And I learned a thing or two kind of the hard way. And the question was always for me, well, should I do a yearly subscription or a monthly subscription, right? And there are strategies to both, but I would personally, after living through it, I would personally recommend monthly subscriptions over yearly subscriptions, and here's why. The biggest reason is that with a yearly subscription, sometimes people forget that they signed up for something, or they claim that they never did, but they really did. Like, the only way a marketer can bill somebody on a subscription plan is if the customer actually agrees to pay something on a subscription plan. There's no other way. So people can forget in a year that they purchased something a year ago if they're not involved with whatever they purchased, right? So unless you have a really good strategy in the year, the days before or the weeks before they're actually getting billed again, an engagement strategy, like, hey, you know, your bill is coming up, and just want to remind you that this is what we are and this is how we help people, or you get this extra bonus if you sign up again, something like that. Unless you have something like that, I don't really recommend it, okay? And I recommend doing it monthly, and that's what Chris talks about, is monthly subscriptions, because I think also you make more money and you keep people engaged, because once they're paying you month after month after month, then they kind of like already know who you are, and they're not going to be like, oh, what is this charge, because they've been paying you month after month after month, right? So it only really makes sense. So the sweet spot, and I do recommend watching this training that we did, the sweet spot that Chris suggests is $35 a month. He's tried all different payment plans and prices, and he recommends the sweet spot is $35 a month. Imagine making $35 a month times 50 people or times 100 people, and then just growing from there. Pretty cool, right? Not a bad life. So that's pricing. Now let's talk about how to actually deliver the content, okay? Chris suggests and recommends that you deliver through written content. So like, let's say, and he used the business model or the business niche of parenting, right? So what he does is he either has a writer, or he goes out and finds public label rights, private label rights, PLR, and doctors that up so that it's branded and it's really high quality information, and he sticks those in the membership sites, and those tend to do very well. Okay, for me, I would suggest using and it really depends on the niche that you're in. So if you're doing like basketball niche, right, you might want to film some videos on techniques, because you want to give people visual examples, right? So it depends on your niche what kind of content you should be delivering, whether it's video, audio, or written, or both, or all three, or a combination. So if you have visual examples, or that's needed, then you're going to have to somehow get on camera. But if you don't need that, then you're a written report or like a post or something like that is extremely valuable for your membership site, then that will probably do. Okay, so there's only 3 forms of content that you can give, but you can also, we talk about that a lot here with doing checklists and shortening up the content. So that's all stuff that you can incorporate in your membership site, right? So that's the content part of it. Number 4, the 4th tip that I have here is, if you're going to be starting some kind of subscription membership site, then you really should have passion for it, because if you're looking to grow something month after month after month and provide content and engage and interact, and also in the area of traffic and engagement, Chris, you'll learn about the strategy that he talks about on the training. I'm not going to reveal it here, because you should really check it out, and it's a great traffic source to find your target audience, which is really cool. So you're not going to want to engage, you're not going to be excited about something that you're not into, unless you have the means to go ahead and outsource the whole thing, and you not be a part of it, and you can do both, right? You can outsource some and be a part of some, and do a combination, which, me, I always talk about, I like that hybrid model where I'm a part of the things that I do, but I also outsource the things that I'm not so into, or maybe I don't want to do it, or maybe I'm just not the best person to do it, or it's an easy task that somebody else can easily do and I don't have to do it, okay? Or you don't have to do it. So you just have to kind of make that decision on how much you are inputting into this, because regardless of what it is, if you're not jazzed about it, then you're just gonna like why even do it, right? And I say that about everything pretty much. And then the last tip here that I'm going to give you is, so we talked about how to deliver the content, but what are you delivering that content in? Are you delivering it in like an official password protected site, or are you doing it some other way? So I think that there's really 3 ways to deliver and have your membership content available. Actually, 4. I'll give you a 4th way. So one is to have like a fancy membership site, and you can do it through Kajabi. I use Kajabi. When I say fancy, that just means that there's a nice level of technology there for you, password protected, but it's a little bit pricey. So if that's why if you want to go all in, then this is something that you should be excited about, which we talked about. So that's like a web. There's also other types of web-based membership delivery sites like Everlesson. I think ClickFunnels even has a password protected type thing too, which is cool. The second way is WordPress. And you know me, I talk about WordPress a lot. I'm not a fan of WordPress anymore. I used to be. It's just there's too many updates, there's too many plugins, there's too many clashes with, if you install this plugin, this doesn't work, and there's an update here, and this broke. It's a pain in the neck. So you can do it. I think there's like the wish list plugin we used to use, but still something that's that's around and relevant and workable, right? The third is to do like a non-protected membership site, meaning that you can make pages and stuff, like for example, like on lead pages. So it's not necessarily protected, but you can do things like not index your pages. You can connect pages together kind of manually. It wouldn't be password protected, but it would be very hard for somebody to like steal your information or something like that. Like you can make your URL something that's not searchable or easily able to figure out. That's totally fine to do, and I've done stuff like that. Not a big deal, but if you want to be a little bit more official, then I would say use something like that's password protected, recommended, but not 100% necessary. And the fourth way is, and I have pros and cons about this delivery method, but more pros, well, maybe I'm 50-50 on this, is that now you can deliver content in a closed group like on Facebook, and you can put like things in categories. So like let's just use the parenting example. You can put talking to your kids about drugs, and then have a category for that. So anybody who wants to see that topic can easily go ahead and click on that, right? A little bit harder to find information when you're using Facebook, especially the mobile, because I'm in an actual membership site now with content that is on Facebook, and I find that it's a little bit harder to search for things, especially on mobile. But it's a free option. You're building a great community. You can stay engaged with that community. People can talk to each other. So that's definitely a plus. You can do like files and have like a directory in your files of where things are in a group. So that might be a little bit of extra work, but you can have somebody manage that as well. A big kind of con is that you're putting all of your stuff on a third party, but it is Facebook, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. meaning that it's not gonna like, well, it did crash the other day, but it's not gonna like disappear and not be available probably for a very, very long time. I would just say like make sure you have a backup of your content. God forbid if anything happens to Facebook, you still have all of your content, and save all your videos, save it all somewhere in the cloud, like on Dropbox or Google Drive, and you will be good to go, okay? So those were the 5 tips that you can use for your, putting your membership sites together and really discovering that you can make a nice passive income. This is the real stuff of how people are really making money and providing value and working from anywhere in the world. It's really, really great. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in here for you to check out this training. It is so good. This guy is so smart, you guys. I definitely recommend it highly. Jimmy D. Brown, actually this would be the 5th one, I think, right? Says you can do regular email delivery as an autoresponder. Very, very true. Oh my God, that's so old school, but it totally works, right? I didn't even think about that. And when I say old school, I don't mean that's anything bad. I just mean that that's like the basic stuff still works totally. And that's probably the easiest way to deliver your content. You still might need kind of a website, or maybe you can implement what the other ways that I talked about before, and just pick one where you want to house your content. Okay, so I would, again, if you're just starting out, or if this seems very foreign to you and you're starting your online journey, or even if you're in the middle or wherever you are, consider having something that's recurring in your business. And don't be scared to put something out there. Just make sure the golden rule, I'll leave you with this, is that whatever you choose, whatever you decide, make sure there's a market for it. Make sure there's people already spending money, and make sure there are tons and tons of problems that you can solve. Okay, this is a surefire way that you can get some traction, and you can be the one that is making that monthly fee and not somebody else, okay? Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next live workshop.